I think that's all working, Piccia.
Are we live?
I think we are.
Yay! It's always exciting.
I think we're somewhat late. Actually, let me just take this away so that we can.
Well, let's say it's and also it's combined, because you did say you would be late, and I sort of then got very relaxed about it. So you were there kind of on time, and I wasn't ready. So it's combined effort.
I've done. I was climbing a mountain this morning, and then I drove back from Wales, and we've had loads of flooding in the UK. The rain has been really severe. This thing called Storm Dennis, which, whilst not a serious consideration in other parts of the world, for the UK is pretty severe. And on the way back, we just passed loads of places where it's just miles. Yeah, that's not an exaggeration. Miles of water in each direction, and then there's just the road going through it all.
Yeah.
So quite a few hold-ups and what have you. So I'm sorry that we're late. That is my fault. But as you say, you took a laissez-faire approach.
Definitely, I contributed. I was very lucky because I got back from the UK last week, and actually I had rather nice weather for a lot of the time. It was lovely weather when I was in Cardiff, running a workshop.
Of course, you were spending some time with Leo, weren't you?
Yeah, it was great. I had a wonderful time. I hope they did too. It was amazing what we got up to. It was brilliant. I loved it. He's got a fantastic team. I mean, from the feedback, it seemed like they enjoyed it too. But anyways, it was very lucky because it was beautiful. I had sunny weather in Cardiff, and the next day I was in Bristol, and I mean, really lucky.
You totally missed the horrendous rain.
I did. It was extremely
lucky.
Yeah, I did.
Let's crack on though. Thank you for joining us again. This is a monthly thing. We do this each month. Piccia very kindly gives us an hour of her time each month, and she goes through a few sites. The way that you submit those sites, I don't know if I've got a banner for this, but basically if you go to wpbuilds.com/UI, actually, I think I do have a banner for this. It's there. Look, it's on that. It says it in the bottom right-hand corner. If I can make that one go away. Exactly. You can submit your site at wpbuilds.com/UI. And then Piccia adds them to the list. And then each month we just do about 3 of them. And with her expertise in this area, she's able to sort of draw meaningful, interesting, and important conclusions about, where you should take your website. And oh no, Piccia, come on, don't be shy now.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's okay. And so we just put them on the screen, and she talks through them. And if you feel that you may benefit from this, if you go to wpbuilds.com/UI, you can submit a form. It's we keep the data on that form for 7 days or something, just so that we make sure that Piccia gets it, and then I just delete it from the database. So for that period of time, it is on our server. But after that, it's all GDPR compliant, hopefully. I'll just tell you a couple of things about us, WP Builds, if that's all right. We're a little podcast network, and we release a podcast each week on a Thursday. You can get to those. The latest episode's always at the top. This is wpbuilds.com, the main website, and the latest episode is just here. But if you click on, if you go here to podcast archive, then you get to this, just a whole ton of them. So, for example, this week it was me and David Wormsley. Prior to that, it was Patrick Gallagher talking about his grid panes thing that he's got going. Anyway, so that's what we do. We also do a news archive. You can find out about this with this little link here, and we release an episode each week. Actually, if you go in, I've just started doing these. We've got this live news archive, which I've not really promoted before, but if you click on one of these links, you get to the live episode. So this week, because I was in Wales, I wasn't there. It was Leo, David, and various other people. Anyway, that's what we do.
Clever Leo, yeah.
Yeah, and so this is the page where you can go and submit your site. Anyway, enough of the droning on about WP Builds. Let's get Piccia's screen up, shall we?
Right.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Marcus Hind, by the way, I'm presuming it's Marcus Hind. He says,
hey.
Hi, guys. Hello there, Marcus.
Hi, Marcus.
Hey, that's interesting. Marcus, I think you're the first person ever to comment on Periscope. I just put Periscope out there as a thing. I don't even know how it works, in all honesty, but you've got a comment
I've
coming
never
in.
logged into Periscope
Oh,
in my life.
well,
I've never used it in my life. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, if you go to wpbuilds.com/live, or you join us in our Facebook group, I don't know if the comments always work. It's sometimes a little bit in the lap of the gods, but go there and comment, or on the wpbuilds.com live page. Either way, we're all set, Piccia. Should we go for it? I've wasted enough time.
You're such a time waster, Nathan.
I know. Let me get rid of this banner as well, so that we can see your screen. There.
You are not. I am always amazed at how much you managed to get done. It's extraordinary. Now, I've got, so Marcus, great that you're here. Well done, because I think we should make that a habit of tagging the people whose websites we will review, that maybe the day before. I think it would be helpful.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah,
I think we should do that. Yeah. So, Marcus, lovely to have you here. Do comment. I won't see the comments because I haven't got Facebook open. Otherwise, I get distracted.
I'll post any comments onto the screen.
You said, and I think that you, Marcus, you submitted this a while ago. It's been here a while, but just because we get a backlog, so we're doing it now. And I just read, so when people fill the form, sometimes they say a little bit about their website, which is so useful. I think we should make it not compulsory, but instead of saying any further comments, it should be, please tell us a bit more about your site, because it is helpful. So he says, I run a web and media business called Media Badger. We specialize in WordPress web development, motion graphics design, offline graphics design, and digital marketing, to name but a few. I am in the process of tweaking the site very soon, and was just wondering if there are any areas of concern that need to be addressed for a great UX. The site also uses Bootstrap for Animate CSS and for awesome, but we won't deal with that. So I am going to refresh it, actually.
Okay.
Because one thing, it's really fast, this website, isn't it? It's
flashy.
It's very fast, isn't it?
Yeah.
As a web, because now that I'm working with Cloudways, and I have with colleagues that do the technical, we do reviews, and Jan Koch, our friend and colleague Jan Koch, does the technical review, and I'm kind of really getting into it, and because it is a part of UX. And for sure, it's a fast site, I think, isn't it? It loads instantly.
Yeah,
so I'm not going to go into GT metrics, but it is. Now, Nathan, a question for you. Sure. You know me well enough now. So what am I going to say?
Okay, so my first guess is that you're going to say that you don't like the animations.
I say much more nicely than that.
Okay, sorry. Yes, I apologize. Okay, that you would prefer it if the animations were kind of like an opt-in thing, and it wasn't something that was there possibly. And also, I'm imagining that the center aligned text in the black area at the bottom is going to be a point of concern for you as well.
Brilliant. I'm glad that it does seep in. I mean, yes. It's inevitable, isn't it?
Oh, and I've got you have to bludgeon me to get information in, so it's working.
Well, yeah, clearly. I mean, so there's so much I can't actually repeat it anymore. We've had people saying, please don't mention the center text. I know already. That was Ryan. Anyway, yes, Marcus. So I think that the logo I love it. I just, it's so cute. And I love the fact that it's a badger. And I very much like how simple the design of this is. But right now, I am going a bit loopy because I can't stop this. There is no way. I have no agency and I have no options. So I was doing, and I'm actually going to scroll down. I literally can't keep watching it. It's I was saying earlier that I did a workshop for Sotic, and also another workshop as well in Worthing, actually, on generally about UX, and we actually, but with a focus, so we came up with an actual solution for the homepage of one of their clients, which was such fun. Anyway, one of the things that I kept saying, and that really got through, is that good UX needs to give your visitors agency and options. Agency in the sense that I've always got to be able to do something, to change, to interact and change something that is moving, and options. So I need to have choices and the ability to make those choices. And here I don't. It literally will never stop. This is really, really inaccessible. And I'm not trying to be not nice. It just is. It will not. This does not comply with accessibility rules. I am definitely not an accessibility expert, but I can assure you that this absolutely doesn't, because it never stops, and there's no way for me to stop it. And I think you're doing yourself a disservice, because I think, I love that logo. How cool is it? I want it back. If I refresh it and I get this is really nice. So it's basically, it's not helping me at all, because, well, you could argue that not everybody spends as long as we are on the homepage, obviously, because we're talking about it, but still, it doesn't help. So no nonsense media design, Media Badger UK, which is a bit redundant here because we are on Media Badger UK. And then here you repeat the logo, which also we're already on the website, so it's not that useful. So web, graphic, simple, and no nonsense media design. And I understand why you say media design, because you say that you offer a lot of stuff. So here is, but you haven't actually told me with that thing flashing. I think it takes time for people to read it, because there's lots of stuff going on, not too quickly, but fairly quickly, and you can't stop it. Here is the stuff that matters. We're Media Badger. We're here to make a digital life better. We're a company that works to deliver a fantastic competitive product at a reasonable price and with excellent customer service. Now, I am going to get out something that I should have got out earlier and I didn't. So just give me 1 second. I'm thinking where it is. And it must be here. Sorry, because it is going to be quite useful for you to have. So it's here. And my cat is here. Is it here? Sorry, guys, just a second. You can chat in the meantime.
It's okay. Yeah, that's
Nathan,
fine.
you can.
I don't have any. It's one of those strange things.
There's nothing to say.
If it was me holding the mouse and I could sort of scroll up and down, I would definitely be able to do that. But
but you can't.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. It's just
stuck on.
And also, it has not come out. It's a. Okay, now it's coming up.
Oh, okay. Well, that wasn't too
okay.
Bad. Took a few seconds.
So these are two things. Here we are. I don't know where to put them. I'm gonna put it in the chat, and I'm gonna read them out. So what you need to do? So it's gotta be about who you help, not so much about you. So even though here you are kind of you're not telling me what you do, though. I mean, you are saying that you make someone, your digital life better. You deliver a competitive product at a reasonable price with excellent customer service, which is what, generally speaking, we hope that would be the case. But you still haven't quite told me what you're gonna. You do say here web development, digital marketing, graphic design, but this is kind of where we're going into the. Actually, I'm going to close this down. Into the realm of when people say you shouldn't list features, you should list benefits. So these are all the features. These are all the things that you can do. These are all the services, but you haven't actually said clearly how you're helping. Because also you must bear, one thing that's important is that I don't know, obviously I don't know your clients, but there may be clients that don't really know, the difference between brand identity and logo design, or what search engine optimization is. Do you know what I mean? So I think, so this is, I'm going to paste this here. So send. So this is what the structure of your message should be. We help, in brackets, the ideal client to, in brackets, solve the problem they have so that they will, in brackets, the result, and in brackets, how their lives will be better. Or in other words, these are all exercises that you do so that you get, I do them with my clients, but because this is marketing as well as UX, because interestingly, very good UX is also very good marketing. So this is something that you articulate what it is that you do, and this according to this formula. Or also you, after, for instance, in the case of the workshop that I did with Sotic, we were doing it with a client of theirs. And I also said, another thing that it would be great to get to is if at the end of our 2 days together, we get to the statement, I want to live in a world where, and we get, which is brilliant. And actually, I have to thank Mike Killen. I think he's the first one that brought my attention to it. And then I'll give you an example. Bill Gates said in the 70s, in the late 70s, when he started out, he said, I want to live in a world where every household has a computer. Now, Bill Gates was, the founder of Microsoft. He never sold computers. So he wasn't, but he knew that in his dream, then if every household had a computer, then by consequence, most households would have Microsoft products in it. Mm-hmm. So that's the kind of, I want to live in a world where, which is great because, and we actually with Sotic, we managed, it was fantastic. And it was such a light bulb moment and everybody was really happy. And suddenly we knew exactly what we needed to do. That's the level of clarity that you get. So I would say that, because you're saying that you would like better UX as well. So I would, if you think of an experience, so an experience needs to be engaging. It needs to engage your customer, or your visitor, because maybe they're not a customer yet. This doesn't engage me. It holds me captive because I have no part in this. It's playful, which is lovely. And I really do think I love you. I do love your, I love the fact that it's a media badger. I'd like to know why it's a badger because I love badgers. But I think the logo is wonderfully simple and I love the color scheme, black and white. Please leave it like that. Brilliant. So refreshing there. I mean, you do have blue like everybody does in tech, but it's a different blue. It's a really bright sort of electric blue, almost blue Klein, we would say in art. And it makes me think of a David Bowie song. So leave it. I love it. Great palette. But here, you're not giving me an experience. You're imposing an animation on me. And I know that you sell animations, but this is not where you want to show them. Or you can, but give me a way of stopping it, or better said, even, how I advocate giving an actual engaging experience on the homepage. So a way of actually getting the customer where you want them. Because also, if you're still there, has Marcus commented at all?
No, he's not. Nathan? Not since then. He's probably just
not since
taking
then,
it all
okay.
in. Yeah, yeah.
Right, because I just wanted to ask you, Mark, what you want from the customer that comes onto your website. What do you want them to do? What's your main aim? What's the ideal outcome? Because you have to find the sweet spot, sort of Venn diagram. One circle is the client, one circle is you, and where the overlap, it's a sweet spot where you both want the same thing. Because basically, if a prospect comes onto your website because they want your help, then you know that you can help them. So the sweet spot is that you get them where you want them, but knowing that that's also the best thing that could happen for them because you solve their problem. So and then again, as you know, as people have heard me say a million times, I love the fact that the text is so big here. So easy for me to read. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Brilliant. I love the fact that the contrast is a bit too high, but it's good contrast, and you've darkened the photo enough. I would darken it maybe even a little bit more. And I think this is not a stock photo. I think this is a real photo that you did. So great. I don't like centered alignment. It's not accessible in terms of because the lines are ragged and the eye gets really tired to follow them. And if you have dyslexia, it's very hard for you to tell that this is one block and this is another block. Then also, you're not using your chance to make the eye follow your alignment. You're not giving my eye a journey. You're making me do this. So,
Right.
and I think that this usually. So, can you hear my cat?
No,
No,
I didn't know you had the cat there at all.
He's been really moaning. I might have to pick him up. Sorry, I might have to pick him up because otherwise he won't stop. Right.
Oh, here's an interesting thing. So Marcus has
Marcus
made a couple of comments.
Oh,
by
great.
The way,
yeah,
Piccia.
Please tell us. Yes.
But they're not coming through onto the platform that we have. So I'll just read it to you.
Yes.
He said, first of all, hi guys. Then he said, then he's just explaining that he did the first comment on Twitter.
Yeah.
And then he, about 14 minutes ago, he said, okay, no worries, Piccia. So I don't know exactly what you were saying at that point. So sorry, Marcus. Usually the platform sucks in the comments and we can see them and put them on the screen, but it's misbehaving, apparently, it would seem.
Yeah.
So I'll keep Facebook open. And if any more comments come in, then I'll endeavour to see them in that way. Sorry, Marcus. Apologies.
Yeah. So I think that the logo. I love the fact that they're big. It's kind of I like this great. So here, for instance, something like this, I love. I think it looks great. But I would make I would grey out these logos because they create a bit too much of a visual mess. Funnily enough, these two are in similar color, so it's kind of all right. But I would stay with a really toned down color scheme. I think that really works. Bearing in mind, want to see more. Okay, they want to see more. I like that because the way it's asked the question, it does make me want to see more, and I go to it. But and then here, I just, this works much better for me because it's right aligned, So use that.
I was going to ask you about that, how you felt about the right alignment. That's interesting. Yeah.
I feel all right about it. I think it must be used with a grain of salt, not always, but it's definitely it's aligned. At least that my eye knows where to go. It's a bit weird because normally we start from the left, but I recommend it definitely over centered because this is aligned. My eye has an anchor, whereas otherwise it doesn't have it. And what happens next if you then align? If you center a line, can you see what happens? Because this is centered line, then it's not aligned because it jumps from here. You do see my mouse, don't you? From here, then it jumps to here, and then it jumps to here. There's no, basically, again, like I've said a million times, center alignment is not aligned.
If in that particular situation with the right alignment, it feels to me like the image behind has caused the alignment. So what I mean is we want to see, or Marcus would like to reveal the Badger logo, which is clearly on the left-hand side of that image. And so the text has been right aligned potentially.
Yeah.
Do you think is that a good enough? Are you happy with that?
I'm happy with that. And it's a very good reason and it's nice. But then I would like to have some visual balance that maybe you should have a strip up here with text on the left.
Okay.
Similar image with text aligned on the left. So I quite like this. What I would recommend is because it's great that the buttons look like buttons and they, but my feeling about normally weaker colors, less saturated colors as this one is, means not active. That's what we tend to think, isn't it? When something is grayed out, it's not active. So maybe the hover should be maybe a darker color because this, you can't go any brighter than this or any stronger. This is almost full saturation. So I'm just going to go this because then we need to move to your next.
Yeah, it's probably time to move on, but that's okay, good.
If you're a main, I don't know, so I can't tell on this website what your main aim is, what you want people to do. And that's the one thing that you need to work out. That's the one problem with any website, mine included, because I'm working on them, is that they don't know what they want the visitor to do. There's nothing for the visitor to do, and so I would say that I would, if I were you, I would address that and decide what it is that the ideal outcome for you and your user. I'm just going to go really super.
He's actually just mentioned. So the comments, by the way, seem to be completely broken on our platform today. So I'm having to hop around in Facebook and YouTube.
That.
No. It's. I don't know. I'll go to this.
I wrote them.
Yeah. Yes, it's your fault. So what he said, I am aiming to engage potential clients to our site so that they can find out about our services. So that's the purpose of his website. And he wrote that about a minute ago. So.
Right. So, Marcus, in that case, there needs to be something for them to do. And if the contact form is something that you, well, I might end up showing, again, some website that I've shown a million times, but it seems like it's always helpful. So to engage them, get them something to do, because here there's not even, I mean, the menu is really big. I love that as well. But if you want them to find out, if your aim is that they find out more about you, there's nothing for them to do here above the fold, as it were, for them to find out. Contact is very big. So I'm thinking if it's contacts that, if you want them to contact you, that's, yeah, but it's not the first thing that comes here. And definitely make the animation stoppable, because it might cause problems.
Okay, how do you feel about the just? I know you dismissed it right at the beginning, but how do you feel about the sort of chat widget being open at the point of first visiting the site?
Yeah, I'm in two minds about that, because the thing is, I have agency, I have an option.
Right.
I have the option to have a chat, or I have the option to not have a chat, and I have the agency that I can close it. I can close it if I want. So it depends on whether it converts or not. In my case, I just ended up, it wasn't quite working for me. So I ended up, this creature on my lap, ended up, it's just, because I've been away and they just, anyway. So it doesn't bother me. It does bother me, but I not so much, because I close it and then it doesn't pop back up again. I hate it when I close it and then it pops open again. I'm like, no, I just, like I said, I don't want to speak to you now, or I would have opened it myself.
Right.
So I'm kind of all right with that. So I hope it was helpful, Marcus. And yeah, if you're not in my group, I can't remember if you're in my group. If you are not, join it, Design for Geeks, and we can have further conversations about it in there.
Yeah, I just whenever I want to go into Piccia's group, I just use the search in Facebook and type in Design for Geeks, and it comes up there. The actual name of the entire group is Design for Geeks, devs, techies, and marketers.
There's no need, because the URL is actually facebook.com/groups/Design for Geeks.
Perfect.
That's the URL.
I will create a banner for that whilst you introduce the next site.
So let's move on to this one, actually. So this one already has, and let me just check who it is. Oh, it's I know who it is. It's Oladapo Babarinde. I hope I'm saying it correctly, Oladapo. So I left this open for a while. So this came up, the pop-up came up. I am getting completely over pop-ups, because they're not, I mean, I'd like to know whether it converts or not, but I don't know. I'd be surprised. So, okay, so we have this that's come up. If you need help, simply reply to this message. We're online and ready to help. And I'm going to close it. All that I want is for it to not open again. And then I'm fine with that. And this is cute. We're here. That's cute. Right. So now you might.
That's great. Full on feline invasion.
Yeah. He's been like that since I got back. Anyway. So I'm just going to close it. Also, another thing is that's very important for good user experience is to be consistent with copy. So here you're saying, subscribe to our newsletter, and then you say, sign up to receive 10% of your first order, which is not a newsletter. It then get notified of updates, blah, blah, blah. Yes, that's a newsletter thing. But then call it, instead of subscribe to our newsletter, call it get a discount off your first order, something like that, and then make sure that the buttons reflect that. I would be surprised if this converted, but maybe it does, but I don't know. It would be interesting to know. So I'm going to close it. That was cute. That was nice. The way it faded.
Yeah.
The animation was nice. It was very subtle. I liked it. So fast, reliable, white label WordPress development for agencies, starting at $5.99. Now, this is no nonsense. It says very clearly what it does. I accept here is features. I mean, it's WordPress development for agencies, but he's talking to an audience of peers. Oladapo, I don't know if he's on. We won't know because we can't see the comments. It looks like it. So if when you're talking to an audience, an industry audience, then you can be a little bit more technical. Sometimes it's actually what you need because that's what people want to know. I'm just going to see whether. So what Oladapo says is Ascend WP is a startup focused on helping digital agencies reduce staff expenses and increase profits. We do this by providing reliable WordPress development services. That's what I want. That's brilliant. Helping digital agencies reduce staff expenses and increasing profits. That's fabulous. That should be here, don't you think?
Well, it says it does. If it does what it says on the tin, then yes, that's a really nice.
Totally, Oladapo. That's really nice. That's kind of I want to live in a world where digital agencies are able to reduce expenses and increase profits.
Nice.
Do you know what I mean? That's kind of it.
It's
great. So I think that I understand that you want to just put here what it says on the tin, but. And then he says, we help you build the stress-free agency you want by taking care of your WordPress website development. So I am guessing that Oladapo is really young. He is in my group, Oladapo, I know you are, because this is small. It's probably within the ranges. This is maybe 16 or 18, I would guess. But please make it bigger because it's, and agency owners are all over all ages, but you would be really amazed how early people start having, like something like 30% of the people who visit your website, you are guaranteed to have some kind of vision impairment. So I would make it bigger. But yeah, I think that's brilliant what you said in the form that you sent us. Helping digital agencies reduce staff expenses and increase profits. I would make it your main thing. And I like that starting at $5.99, you're kind of not beating around the bush, but I don't know if people are ready to talk about money yet. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, it's a good point.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's centered, which, as you know, I don't like so much, but I will say that in this case, because there's, I don't know, it's borderline acceptable, but is it because there's no background? There's just a color. Is that anything to do with it? That's partly it, because it's easier on my brain than other things, but also because it could be also because at this size, the shape that it describes is almost regular. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So because
it kind of grows and then shrinks.
See the contours, because that's what people. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's kind of, and there's not a huge difference between the length of the lines, but still a line. This is still not a line. What I like about it as well is that, so he's got it clear what they want them to do. He's got 2 calls to action, which are fine, because you can do that if they go to 2 different places and they're not confusing. This is not confusing. It's either get started or book a call. Now, I always say that, again, it would be really interesting to know whether the book a call button converts Oladapo, because I always say that when people, unless they know you, unless you tell them, yes, please go on the website to book a call, I'd like to see whether random visitors click on that, whether it does convert, because my theory is that it doesn't, because I'm never ready to call. Also, I'm kind of averse to making telephone calls. So that is kind of my problem as well. But I doubt that people just go, okay, I'll call you now. I'll call, I've never met you before. We haven't never had a conversation. I'm going to call you. They say that online, you need 7 points of contact with someone before you actually work with them. That's what they say. So I like 40 days money back guarantee and fast build. I mean, it's straight to the point, this website. So that's quite good. It's quite clear. So I'm going to click on get started because I definitely wouldn't book a course.
Can I just ask you a quick question? Just one quick thing. Firstly,
yeah.
I agree about the font size. I mean, I've got this on my screen, and I definitely, with the glasses, I'm all good. Without the glasses, I'm not seeing it quite as clearly. The other thing is, what about the two buttons? How do you feel about the fact that they're just sort of inverse of each other and they're next to each other? You've got a white button and a blue button. Does that work for you?
It does, because they're doing different things. So
Great.
It would be much more confusing if they were the same. I'm not a fan of transparent buttons because they look too much like text, and so they're not there as accessible. A button should look like a button. In fact, if it had a slight gradient that gives it that sort of 3D little effect, that would be easier for your user because it looks definitely interactive. And also, I would definitely also give it a hover effect because people are used to it. Okay, the tooltip becomes a hand, which is fine, but I think it would be easier for people to recognize it as interactive if it does something on the hover. So I'm going to click on get started. And I'm also fine, like I was saying, that there's two different calls to action because they do different things. So pricing. So this is where I think we've said it before with other people. It's not get started, it's pricing. So it's your button is taking me, is not keeping the promise. Your button is promising me that I can get started, but then it's showing me the pricing. So that's not getting started. Also, please stop this. Can you see my tab that's flashing?
Yeah.
It was, and I stopped that now. I went on it and it stopped, but it was flashing with one message. And I know that I don't want this message. And now it says one message and there isn't a message. And see that's
back again. No, okay, it's distracting you. All right.
It's distracting. That shouldn't happen. It's okay, now it's stopped. Okay, good.
Do you know that stuff's really real as well? Because when I'm concentrating on a piece of work and a tab that I'm not working on starts to do something like that, it really does pull my eye across. So it might be a completely different app, or I don't know what it might be. I can just think of many times where that's happened. Something on a tab has begun flashing notifications at me, and suddenly I'm drawn in, and great, you've had a very quick impression on me, but I'm left with a sense of annoyance at what you did when I finally get to your tab and close it down. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. The flashing tab is not a good idea. So see if that plugin that you're using allows you to stop that. It's one of those things that are not accessible because it's an uncontrollable animation, an animation that your user has no control over. So that's the thing. Okay, I think that we need a little bit more about before. Again, like I said, you promise to get started, but you don't give that. You give the pricing. So and also, am I ready for the pricing? I don't know exactly how you do it. I think I would like a bit of an explanation of how you do it. Don't you think?
Yep. Fair enough. Yep.
And here is Here is a real example of where not centering the text is really confusing, because also the line spacing between paragraphs is almost the same as the line spacing between lines.
So that second one, so custom design and development of website pages. Yeah.
So I would sort that out, and I would definitely align, because this is where it's going whoa. And I know that it's all pricing tables are always centered, all of them. But then if you have a list below, lists need alignment. They're the thing of anything that needs alignment the most. So now again, I'm getting told get started, and I'm going to click on get started, and I want to see what happens now.
Looks like you're going to some
again. Yeah, and that's not getting started, is it? So I would recommend, if you say getting started, have something. And now I am going to show. Shall we do lemonade?
Yeah, go on. I know you like this.
Let's do lemonade, or actually Rover, because lemonade I should have prepared. Let's do Rover. So Rover is a and see that. So Rover, Rover is a pat sitting. And so if here you're not even telling me get started, I am just getting started. I'm looking for a service for my cat who clearly needs attention. So I'm going to ask for drop-in visits near my old London address. Start date, what should have been tomorrow, and it's not because it's cancelled.
Oh.
And I'm going to go search. So you could build something like this. I mean, obviously, then here it gets me like this is a huge website that has, it's so easy though, isn't it? It's so easy.
Yeah, that was easy. That really was getting started.
So
right off the bat.
ridiculously easy. But you could have something here that I'm looking for a complete web development, development of a 7. You could have how many pages website, how many photos, custom design or not. Do you know what I mean? You could have something similar here,
right,
and then click on other quote, and then you could get them to a pricing table. It could be done without that much hassle, I don't think.
Yeah.
But just think of giving people an experience, because I feel that it starts super well, but then where it loses a bit of oomph is that, who is anybody, but does it convert? Does anybody buy? And also you're saying get started, but you're not keeping the promise, because I'm not getting started. I'm just asked to given a pricing first and then asked to buy. So that's again here. The Q&A, the FAQs are always good. I'm going to go to see what happens in our work. I like the logo. It's really nice.
Yeah, it is.
Ascend
nice.
with
a mountain.
Kind of,
yeah, it is nice.
Yeah, it's
Nicely
nice.
thought through. Yeah.
Right. It looks a bit slow, but that could be the.
Yeah, any number of factors. We are live streaming.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not possible to. Okay, so this is good, but I would make it a case study, because like this, it's not telling me anything really. I would say maybe have a couple of case studies, but that's a different story. And again, the flashing thing up there. So, and more here. So I will, and then about us should be much more important than more, because about us is where you really tell people. And I wouldn't have your photo here or Adapa, not a lady it looks clearly like a stock photo. So again, our mission, we believe agency owners should be able to build a digital agency that suits the lifestyle they want. Wonderful. That's really great. Your copy is brilliant. I really like it. Don't you think? It's really
nice.
Good.
Yeah. That's left aligned. It's dead easy to read, isn't it? Yeah, it was really simple. Yeah.
There you go. So, and also, because I think we need to move to the next one pronto. I also really like the blue again. I mean, it's, as we said, it's really typical, but it's a darker blue that we see usually. And I like the pattern in the background because it gives it that little bit of depth. And you've avoided the ever-present, illustrations that at the moment everybody has. So well done. So there's loads that's great here, but just think of actually creating an experience rather than having and putting a buffer in between asking for people to give you money and first thing, just give a little bit more of something else before you ask people for their money. Again, we don't know yet. I hope that was helpful, Oladapo.
Yeah. Well, sadly, the comments aren't coming through. So, and anyway, I don't believe he's online at the moment anyway.
Okay. So, well, anyway, you can always ask.
We'll post the video and you can watch. Yeah.
Now I'm going to close this tab because of the flashing thing. I am very sensitive to animations.
Yeah. That's okay. That's what you're there
very
for.
Boring. Right. So Silverforge. This is, I think it's Roger, but I'm just going to check. Roger Dix, yes. So, and he only says the site has been around for a bit, so any quick ideas would be gratefully received. Thanks for offering this. You're very welcome.
Yeah,
So,
what a nice thing to say right at the start.
Yeah,
I love that.
very nice. So again, it says clearly who they are. We're a small independent jewelry shop and studio in Milthorpe, Cumbria, specializing in commissioned jewelry pieces. We have fair stock selection too. Well, it tells me exactly what it says. So obviously it's handmade. So now the first thing that I'm going to say about this is be really careful with scripts. So sort of scripts as sort of handwritten kind of typefaces. And I understand why people use them. It's because they're friendlier and they sort of give you that sort of handmade feel. I don't like them because your pieces are handmade, so you shouldn't have something that's handmade. You should have a contrast there because otherwise there's too much going on. And the problem with scripts is that often they're not accessible because they're more difficult to recognize the shapes. The shapes can look as something else. Like look, for instance, look at your T's. They look like crosses. Therefore, someone who has dyslexia, for instance, may have a problem recognizing that as a T, maybe by context, but because people with dyslexia see things jumbled up, they don't have the context that we have. Also, if you look at the R, it looks like a V. So those are the things to bear in mind. So that's why I'm not a fan. And to me, it just makes it look messy. I think that a handmade jewelry website should have something, a contrasting font, like something. I would use a sans serif actually.
Okay.
And not Montserrat, which is using. But anyway. And also again about the logo, it's a bit small for me, but also it's way too complex a logo, and it looks like this is not a logo that can ever be a vector. This is it looks like it's been squashed down from a big logo to a little logo, and it's lost things. Down, and it's a raster logo, so it means it's made of pixels rather than vectors. So that means because it looks like it's got some shading, things like that. And it's very complicated, really, really complicated. There's something going on in the words that I can't quite tell. So why have that? Make it super. And in fact, that's proven by the fact that here in the favicon, you have SF, very simply, because you could never use an element of the logo. So why don't you use that? Just make the logo super simple. I would say that. So that's the first thing. I like this. I mean, you could have big images as well. So how also one thing that hasn't come up yet is sliders. How the sliders are not good. However, there's one situation in which sliders are good, and that's for e-commerce. Apparently they work really well, and that's one case where they do convert, and you probably should have them always moving. Let people move through them if they want to. But so maybe you'd want that, because he's saying it's been like this for ages, and Roger wants ideas. So you could look into that, because if you have good photography, you should probably showcase your pieces. What I like about this is the utter clarity. Yes, it is a bit of it looks dated, undoubtedly it looks like a little bit dated in terms of design, but it is pretty clear what it does, even though I still think the type is a bit too bright for me. And again, I'm not a fan of the script. However, it says what it does, and then you've got jewelry stock, jewelry workshops, and commissions. Now, again, it would be much better, or it would help maybe if you had one call to action that gets people where you want them. But at the same time, you do have things of interest here. And I think that, so for instance, I would definitely go to examples of stock, I think, because I would like to know whether it's to my taste or not. But they do lots of things. So yeah, one thing I want to say before I go there, I would say that here you've got commissions and then jewelry repairs. Because of the way the drop-down menu works, if you've only got one item in it, it looks like jewelry repairs is all you do.
Right.
Whereas it's most likely secondary. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So with workshops, because you've got a few, then I don't think that. But with commissions, I think it's confusing. And again, I think you should have your calls to action up here because I don't see them. I have to scroll down for them. So I would, again, like I was saying earlier, think about what you do and who for and how people can buy it. That's another way of putting it, which Imogen Allen, actually, the first one is from Imogen Allen, the one where I said we have the ideal client, so the problem they have, blah, blah, blah. That's from something that Imogen Allen does. It's called the website framework. It's really useful. And another thing that she says is, think simply, what do you do? Who do you do it for? And how can they buy it? That's it. So this is putting a few obstacles because, again, what is that you prefer? What's your utmost? What do you want? Is it commissions that make you the more money, or is it the stock that you want to push, or is it the workshops? I guess that normally workshops are kind of a bit of a loss leader, maybe not for everyone, but depends on how much you charge. But maybe it's just to get known. I know that my sister does it for that reason. I'll assume commissions. It's the third one, so I'm not sure, but I'm gonna have a look at the commissions. Get the design you have always wanted. Custom one-off pieces. That's really nice, and it kind of is. That's enough of an explanation. And here are the steps, so that's really nice. But how long before I get all this information is great, but how long? How can I get it done?
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Oh, okay. If you'd like to know more, call me. And it's not a callable. I can't call by clicking on it or the contact page. But that's quite hard. So definitely have a big button here somewhere that makes it super easy for people to get to you, I would say. And then because you're here to make the journey as easy as possible. So again, think about how you could build a piece here with something like this. You know what I mean?
Because she's got different sections right at the front, hasn't she? Those 3 different sections.
Why do you assume it's a woman? Because the submission.
I thought you said she. Sorry.
Roger.
Apologies. I thought you said.
I don't know. I don't know if it's Roger's shop, but Roger submitted, which is not, as far as I know, as a unisex name.
Oh, okay.
So, and then, lots of people put the about page in the contact. No. So, so the contact page here, because of what I said earlier, doesn't even look as if it's a page. So I'm wondering whether it converts or not. But then about should not be buried. About is one of the most important pages on your website. And also terms and conditions, links, and privacy go in the footer. They don't go here in the menu. That's not. So about is actually a really important page. So it's Joe Dix. So it's Roger Dix. So Joe is maybe Roger's wife.
Yeah.
So she's got a black lab.
She's sold already.
Bless. So this is really nice because it's lots of text, which is good. But I think that you need to make it easier. So again, here, please give me a call if you'd like to commission. And people have to actually copy it or write it down, and they can't call you from it. So think mobile as well. This is really easy to make clickable, obviously. So again, you're not making my life easy if I want to contact you. If you only want to be contacted by phone, which people do sometimes, but bear in mind that someone like me will never call you. I would rather not, if I'm in love with your jewelry, but I would rather not have it than call you. Whereas there are other people who only want to call you. Right. So try and cater
for both.
For both, because but above all, make it easy. Do not bury the about page here. This is important. And it's there's the concept of an about page. The about page should be about your client, not about you. It should be about what you do for them. It shouldn't be about you. That's another thing. But make it easier for people to buy your stuff. And also, I want to look at the stock. as well.
I really like the look
Examples
of
of
what they
stuff.
make.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah, really nice.
Oh, see here? If you have something special in mind, get in touch with Joe, and it's in the stock items, which is weird because it's where it should be. It's
Commission.
stock items stock items is, I assume, what is already there. So why would this button saying you have something special in mind be there? Anyway, so here, and I just want to click because I need to click and see what happens. So it's contact. Again, it's a bit, this fields are a bit too small. Again, please include your phone number. That you'd lose me hit there. I would just not. I'm sure you have your good reason, but I would not. I would go to a different. I would find a different shop.
That's interesting. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I just can't. Before I call, I mean, I have to be desperate to call. I mean, I'm calling. I'm having to call KLM after I finish this because it's like the last few hours. I have to change to not completely lose my Bangkok flight, but I have to because the website doesn't work. But
you're leaving it until the last minute because you don't wish to make the call, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just hate it such.
Yeah, interesting. So cater for all.
Yeah. So yeah, and I mean, I assume that people do call, and also it says here we often get flagged as spam. That's because you need a mail server, don't you? You need something like Mailgun or something like that, don't you? Because that's
there's all sorts of reasons why that might not be. But if you're sending natively out of WordPress just with PHP mail, that's not a good plan.
Yeah, exactly. So that might be that. So I would say very much like what I've said to others. I think it's great that it's very clear what you do. You've got the opening hours. That's really great. But the contact is not that easy. There's no way that you can click to make the call. You need, I mean, I can't tell you, probably have your own good reason. You just know that you need to force people and you don't want to work with people who don't want to call you. So that's fine. But give people something to do, get them to where you want them. So if your commissions are your favorite thing to sell, then do make it easier for people to commit. And also about commissions, I think you should have more previous. It should have a gallery here, because now to find out what it looks like, I have to go to galleries. Do you know what I mean?
It's funny as well because for a website which is all about how things look, there is a lot of text on many of these pages, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. I mean, it's fine. It's not like I love this ring. Yeah, really nice. So make more of them, I would say. And again, think about, even though this is it's great to know what you do, but make it about the benefit that you give. So say something, for instance, here, remembrance, celebration, you could have a header saying celebrate your love for whatever, whoever rather, on here, and then a button with a call to action. See what I mean? And maybe make more of the photos, because this is kind of, it's super visual. So make it more visual, but it's a little, I can see how it hasn't been touched for a long time, as Roger says, but because it is a bit dated, but at the same time, it's a pleasant little site. I just make it easier. I'm gonna go to the workshops. They're great as well. I should make it easier, and also think of what people want to know first. I'm sure this is interesting, but I think that people want to know the prices and the dates before. So I think they should be on this workshop. You shouldn't be difficult to find. You should have them before, So, yeah.
The good thing about everything that you've said is that especially if I don't know what technology is behind it other than presumably WordPress, but all the fixes that you've mentioned, a novice could be up and running with a page builder and modify it quite quickly.
Absolutely. Another important thing that I've not said for any site today, and I will say it now, is the testimonials. You must have testimonials. You need to have them. You need to have them about the workshops and about the jewelry. They're nowhere. I haven't seen any.
Yeah.
I think there's something. I think it came to my mind because there is something on the workshop prices page. Yeah, here.
Oh,
but we don't know who said.
Yeah.
But we don't know who said that. So we do need to say that.
Yeah, it's a good point.
It's the only. Yeah, and you need to have that because I'm sure that you have loads. If you've been going for a while, I'm sure you have loads. So I think, yeah,
you're done.
I hope that was helpful.
Again. I like the idea of tagging in the people before we actually start. That makes perfect sense.
Because they don't know.
Idea.
Yeah,
and then
they don't know.
We were told by Leo Mindel last time we did it that we should, and we both forgot, I think, that we should be looking at the mobile layout as well, but we forgot to do that, didn't we?
Yeah, we did actually, and I totally agree. He's so right.
Yeah, he actually made a comment I can't remember where he made a comment because the comments have been an absolute disaster today. Sorry about that. He said, "Oh, this one I can actually show." He said he had a great time with you last week. I know that you were over in Wales.
Oh, fantastic! Because I haven't got any feedback yet, so thank you for letting me know.
Well, there you go. There's a testimonial right there that you.
I loved it. I thought that at the end of the workshop, we'd made a difference. They had stuff they didn't have before. I felt this has made a real difference, and to me, that was amazing.
Yeah, you made your mark.
I loved it.
Thank you.
Stuff.
Yeah, really appreciate it. You've got to go and call KLM and get your cash back, hopefully, on your flight to Bangkok.
No cash back. I can only change it.
Oh, okay. You have to have a holiday.
Yeah, I want to change it for next winter. Yeah,
okay.
I do.
Okay.
But it's going to cost me money, but never mind. So
it's another debate altogether, isn't it?
It is. Let's leave it.
Yeah. It's a big, deep rabbit hole, that one. Thank you. Appreciate it. So on the page there, on the video, facebook.com/groups/design for geeks. Go and join.
Yeah, I'd love to see you in there.
Go and join Piccia's group. It's thriving. There's absolutely loads of people talking about all things design. So go and join that. And wpbuilds.com/UI if you want to submit your own site. And what was it you said halfway through this? You said we should ask them for, I know. Let's ask them for their Twitter handle or something so that we can tag them in some way. That would be.
Yeah, or tag them in the group, let's make sure that we have a way of getting to them, that they,
getting to them. Yeah, it's a good
point. So that we can. And next time, we must make a point of looking at the mobile version. The
mobile, right. Okay, it's all banked away in my head and will be forgotten in about 6 minutes, but for now at least.
Yeah.
Right, great okay, stuff. Thank you. I'm going to
My pleasure.
And I'm going to put the little banner on, if that's all right, and then we'll stop the call. But if you stay on, is that all right, Piccia, just for a couple of minutes?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, all right then. So, see ya. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.